Welcome to Something to Say, where we bring voices from diverse backgrounds who will share their unique stories and perspectives on finding their passion and provide insights on how you can find yours. Join us as host Greg DeShields guides us through this enlightening journey.
Welcome to a special episode of Something to Say podcast, a unique platform that amplifies the voices of individuals from various backgrounds sharing their passions. I'm your host, Greg DeShields, and I am pleased to bring you another episode of Something to Say. Thank you for joining us today, and we welcome Noel Zayas, a spectacular Philadelphia event producer. For over 25 years and over 2,500 events, Noel has seamlessly blended his creative vision and attention to detail to turn mere events into wondrous occasions that perfectly capture the spirit and personality of his clients. Noel's career in marketing began with the world-renowned Wilma Theater on the Avenue of the Arts in Philadelphia. Soon after a meeting with Barry Gutten, the legend behind Egypt, Pulsations, and Shampoo nightclubs, all of which I went to in Philadelphia at one time, led to Noel's 2-year stint directing Shampoo's lucrative Saturday nights, which I'm sure I was there. Over the next 2 years, Noel's created sumptuous, glittering events that dazzled all attendees, leading to his appearance in a full-page spread in Philadelphia Style's second anniversary edition, noting Noel as one of Philadelphia's people to watch. Atlantic City, though, soon came calling, launching his 2-year tenure as a Club True's marketing director by producing its grand opening. Later, Noel began his freelance venture with bolder, more innovative events and promotions created for a broad selection of clients, ranging from the American Cancer Society to MAC Cosmetics. Since then, he has built a portfolio that reflects his inevitable creative range and ability to satisfy both the most conceptual and the most traditional of clients. Noel Zayas Events was born walking into Noel Zayas' design event, whether it be a lush wedding, an engagement reception, or a lavishly outrageous and personalized event, is fantastic. Noel's impressive client list feature artists such as Martha Wash, Run DMC, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Lady Miss Kier, and Junior Vasquez, which I do know Junior Vasquez, as well as a film premiere and fundraising events for filmmakers, actors, politicians, and various socialites. Needless to say, Noel lives, works, and loves in Philadelphia, where his talent for bypassing the potentially ordinary in favor of truly extraordinary is fast becoming a legend. So I am so excited to have you with us, Noel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for that intro. I really appreciate that. I'm so glad to be here.
You are just a very creative and innovative professional, and there is such
Thank you.
an incredible amount of success in delivering various memorable events. So we're thrilled to have you on Something to Say.
Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure.
So you've done so much in so many different settings, but just who are you? So here on Something to Say, we love to get to know you a little bit better. So we have a few get to know you questions. It's a way for our audience to get to know you and get a better perspective of you. So we'll start with some icebreaker questions and then we'll move to some more intimate questions. So if you're ready, I'll hit you with the first question.
Let's do it.
All right. So if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would that be and why?
Well, to know me is to know that I'm a huge Madonna fan. And so I'm going to go with Madonna. I would love the opportunity to just, meet her, not just for like the obvious reasons. Obviously she's an incredible entertainer, but I am obsessed with the marketing aspect of who she is, the public relations, the innovative way that she's been able to stay in our eyes for 40 years. For me, that is just, just so exciting. And I would love to just have a couple of minutes, just kind of like pick her brain on how she was able to do such things.
Well, I am so glad you pointed her out. She and I share pretty much the same birth year, and I've always been amazed at her ability to reinvent herself. She is the
Mhm.
quintessential survivor when it comes to taking a career and launching it, quite frankly, for a lifetime. So, great choice. All right.
Thank you. That's
So,
what I love most of her.
my next question for you is, do you love your future or your past more? And I gotta say, you've had a pretty exciting past, but so which do you love more, your future or your past?
Well, that's an interesting question. I love and adore my past self. If it wasn't for who that was and who I was as a younger person, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I've learned from my mistakes, and I've learned, how to be a better person, and how to be a better man. I think that I'm looking forward to my future self. I think I dare say older and wiser now. And, I think that when you're young, you sort of live very vicarious, and you sort of had that sort of energy. But I'm much calmer these days, and I'm kind of looking forward to just being a chill adult.
Well, it's almost like that comparison to a fine wine. You just get better as you get older, so to that degree,
I'll go with that. I'll go with that. I'll take that.
All right, so here's another question for you. Who is the most influential person in your life, and how did they impact you?
So that's an easy question to answer. That would be my mother. You know, uh, I grew up in a household where education was important. She instilled survivor skills in us. We didn't have a lot, but we certainly had a lot of love, and we had perseverance and ambition was instilled in us. And I am my mom. I am at core who she is. So I've learned all my values and my morals from her. So that's who my person is.
That's a great choice.
Yeah. Hmm.
Often it is, without any doubt, the essence of who our parents are, which make us who we are. So I totally agree with that. All right. So
Hmm.
before we go any further, I have to give you a shout out for that chandelier. That is amazing.
I'm trying to stay in theme here.
I mean, if anyone is trying to get any sense of just how spectacular your events are, all they have to do is just look at this video clip. So big
I'm
shout
trying to
out.
stay on brand. I'm trying to stay on brand.
All right, so you have worked at some absolutely fantastic locations, and when I think of
Mhm.
Shampoo and the incredible success of that organization, I do want to talk about your story though. So can you tell us about your LGBTQ story?
So, it's interesting because, I grew up in a neighborhood. I grew up in North Philadelphia. So I was certainly made fun of for who I was. And, it took me a long time, to sort of embrace myself and have, kind of love for myself. And, as an adult, I have pointed out, I've been exposed to so many environments. And, I've been very fortunate to be able to create in those environments and meet such amazing people that, taught me how to embrace myself and how to love myself and how to take care of myself in a way, and how to present myself to the world. And so, I stand, before you as a proud gay man. I look forward to maybe one day, meeting that special person. And, I have that vision of a family and all those things, that the textbook storyline. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I mean, I'm fortunate to have amazing friends and family, and I'm a lucky fellow.
I recently attended an event and there was a talk about the anniversary of Stonewall and the inspirational story of those who really served as, the shoulders that so many of us as LGBTQ people stand on today. And I would say for someone like yourself, that journey that you have been able to experience in your life really serves as a great role model to someone who, as you know, is probably struggling with how they identify themselves.
Mhm.
They look for individuals who give them inspiration to be who they are and live who they are. So big shout out to you and thank you for sharing your story because it does make a difference. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So let's go a little bit deeper and just talk about, and I love, for individuals, especially like yourself who connect with so many people, but just how big is your inner circle?
Most people be very surprised because I think they see a very social person, a person that sort of is kind of, like you said, around a lot of people all of the time, and in what would people say, parties and events, and kind of always out and about. But I have a very, very, very close niche of friends that I've sort of created a brotherhood, with and sisterhood. Most of my friends have been friends of mine since like 20, 25 years of friendship. I've kind of grown up and, we've grown up together. We've traveled life together. And so it's a very small circle. It's who I count on. It's the people that, keep me together. It's the people that I get to be myself around, and love me for me. And, they keep me alive, and happy. And so it's a very small circle of people. I tend to like gravitate to just them. It's really hard for me to make new friendships because I'm so spoiled by the people that I already have around me.
It's real interesting that you share that because that inner circle are really the ones that are so trusted, and as you get older, it is about that inner circle being those who you trust, those who are going to tell you what you maybe don't want to hear but need to hear. Those are
Right,
also
right.
going to help you, give confirmation to decisions that you make. So I agree with you. I think mine has over time really become a much smaller circle as well, but really centered
Yeah.
on those that you trust. So we've talked about it in general terms, but I'd like to get a little bit more detailed insight about what legacy do you hope you'll leave behind?
I hope that I'm remembered as, being kind and loving and creative. I have quite the sense of humor. So I hope I've made people laugh. I sort of approach things with laughter, and I kind of see the joke in most things. I'm my biggest joke, I don't take myself too serious. I definitely, I just hope I was good to people. And I hope I'm remembered as somebody that loved and, loved well.
Very nice. I appreciate you sharing that. It's always a
Mhm.
real big question with very few words when we talk
Yeah.
about your legacy.
Mhm.
So this is something that I think is really a good question for you. So what have you learned from being in this particular field that people should know?
One of the things that I've learned throughout my career is that, most people think that in order to throw an event or to throw a celebration, they have to spend a lot of money and they have to be lavish and big and they have to be super impressive. And I've learned that simplicity is there's a lot to say about simplicity in approaching an event and a celebration that way. It's the most intimate and people remember it more, and they get to spend more time with their guests and they get to spend time with their families and so forth, rather than like the big lavish and worrying about like what something looks like and what something costs and what the presentation aspect of things are. So I think simplicity goes a long way these days.
I knew you were going to give a great answer to that, and I'm one of those people who believe very much less is more because
Yeah.
sometimes you
Mhm.
lose what's really at the heart of it. But that's a great segue because I do want to talk about the event industry, and you are without any doubt somebody who I think can add some great insights. I have 3 questions. I think the first question about the event industry is what are the most significant trends that you see that are developing right now?
So, a lot of couples are asking for like the non-wedding wedding. Most couples are like asking for just a celebration of their love with their family and friends, but getting away from like the traditional stuffy traditions and so forth. And somebody would say, well, what does that really mean? People are creating events that are like more focused on casual family style foods, kind of fly on the wall photography, intimate ceremonies, large parties rather than like what they would call a wedding reception. Less decorated in wedding style and more festive and, kind of a little bit more personal on like their personal taste. And so that whole wedding feel of things has become a little bit, people have steered away from that a little bit. I think COVID did that. People got very creative after we came back from, the pandemic, and they were able to like have rooftop parties and garden parties and so forth. And couples got super creative. So it's really fun for somebody that gets to do what I do because you get kind of bored, not bored, but it's challenging to be able to do all these different types of events now.
Well, it also underscores, I guess, the consumer's movement towards a more authentic experience as opposed to something is just so manufactured and textbook that to have something that is more comfort food than maybe another rubber chicken, may be a whole lot more fun, for
Yeah,
not just the
that's right.
producer, but their guests. All right, so the second one is also another question I think you can share. Can you discuss a common misperception about the event industry that you would like to clear up?
That's a great question because this is definitely something that we encounter with clients a lot. Celebrity weddings and events are like our nightmare because people see these incredible events and they want to sort of do something along the lines of the same thing that they're seeing. And what they don't realize, what people don't realize, that a lot of these celebrities, a lot of that is product placement. A lot of that is their events are definitely supported by a lot of companies, and they want to be seen within their wedding and so forth. And so it's a lot of the times, a couple will come in and say, well, we want this. And you're like, oh my goodness, you have no clue what it takes to make that happen and the kind of money. And we try to like rope them in and sort of give them, a version of that so that they can understand that, a lot of these people are just being given these things, like that's why those weddings are so lavish to that level because they can, they're marketing products. So, people just don't know that.
So a bit of a reality check when it comes to what you see on that celebrity side to what,
That's right.
us everyday folk would do. All
It's
right, so
smoke and mirrors.
so
Mhm.
this is another one that I'd love to, get some of your insights because I know that it seems to creep into everyone's world. So can you highlight some specific innovation or breakthrough or artificial intelligence that seems to be working its way into the event industry?
Back to the idea of people doing sort of like non-wedding events. People are coming up with different themes, and they're coming up with things that like something that they grew up with, or something that they like they met and they had this encounter and they remember it and they want to bring it back to life. And so I feel like a lot of the event world these days has become so personal. And I'm not finding people that want to do like you know kind of baboon presentations and things like that. Again, it's very like, let's keep this simple, let's keep it beautiful. We want to be intimate. We want it to reflect us. So there's not like a big innovation happening at this time. There used to be a time where people wanted to like, I want projections and I want lasers and I want,
Mhm.
they want all these grand entrances and they want all these different things. People have really roped that back in.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Well, one thing
Mm.
I did want to ask you, it's not necessarily bundled in this, but I did want to just ask you some of your thoughts around cost. When it comes to producing events, is there a reality number that people should think about, or is it truly just depending upon whatever you want?
I always say great food, you know, have a great bar and great music. Those are the key elements to like a festive event. Working with everybody from like nonprofit organizations to like big lavish, high profile weddings. I always keep in mind like what that budget is going to be and really what the goal is. What are we accomplishing? And a lot of the time, people think I have to spend all this money to like, create this illusion of what I want people to perceive me as. And, I like to meet with my clients and say, listen, like, what's our goal here? Like, do you want to have fun? You want to have a good time? And ultimately, you want your guests to like ride home on that car ride home and say, like, what a good time that was. Like, we ate really well. They're not going to remember what the flower arrangement looked like. They're not going to remember any of that. They don't care what the hopa looked like. They really just want great food. They want that great bar and they want to party. They want to have a good time, and that's really the focus.
So, Noel, listening to you and you talking about that ride home, and I think back on the events that I've gone to, and I mean, if you're at Shampoo, you probably know about it. They used to hold the City Hall Gala. I don't know if you remember that, Philadelphia. That was the best event ever. I mean,
Yes, yes,
I remember the
yes.
drive home, all I said, it was great food, it was great music, it was great networking, and it was a spectacular
That's it.
way to show City Hall. Amazing, amazing event.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yes, I agree.
All right, so here are some questions that I know we wanted to kind of engage and get to know you even a little bit more. So, what is your biggest passion?
My biggest passion is being creative, and to create. I get a kick out of my friends. You know, I love to like surprise. I love the element of surprise. My friends always say like, "Well, our birthday's coming, and I know it's gonna be some. You're gonna create something, or so you're up to something. I know you're up to something." I just love to be able to like create memories. I like to make people feel special. Ultimately, I like to help a client, create something that they can always remember and look back on. And I like to really dig into like their personality and to see like what it is that they're really going to remember, because those events, they're a couple hours and then it's over, and you're left with photos and memory. And I try to create really special moments that can really talk about years later, and I love to do that for my friends and family as well. So I'm kind of always up to something.
So is there a crucial trait that you would say that someone really needs then to possess if they're in your role? Aside from their personality, but is there like a trait that, you're really going to need this to be a part of your DNA if you're ever going to do this work and do it well?
Patience. Lots and lots of patience. It's a very detailed oriented field. You really want to get it right. You want to be able to really help a client understand what it is they need rather than what they always want. Sometimes people come in with a certain vision, and I try to talk them down and say, listen, that's going to cost all this money, but like let's really do something a little bit more conservative and casual so that you really get what it is you want to, what the message is you want, you want your guests to have. And so I think patience for me, I've learned, to be very patient and understanding, because again, people have no idea, like they have no clue what they're walking into when they're, producing a wedding, or, a lot of corporations, they just put their budgets into the fiscal year and they have no clue what it takes to make these events happen. And it's my job to teach them and to be patient and understanding.
All right, so I have two more questions. One's on script, one's off script. So let me go to the first one, which is on
Okay.
script. What is something people would be surprised to know about you?
I would say that I'm quite shy. I'm very shy, actually.
Oh, I can't believe that.
I know, and there it is, and there it is. I've learned to throughout the years, create the personality that helps me within my career, that helps me in social circles and so forth. But I'm very shy. I'm quite reserved in many areas of my life. My friends, uh, the close people that I mentioned earlier, they understand my anxieties, and they know that right before I'm leaving the house, I'm like frantic and going through it, and they see it, they know it. And so a lot of the times, I've learned the magic, the art of having 5-minute conversations and moving on to the next person, to the next person. Just because I'm so shy, I don't want them to really sort of dig deep.
So I said I had one more question, and then we will move
Yeah.
to your last and final question. But Noel Zayas, tell us about your name.
So my mom joked, in Spanish, my name is Noel. So it does not mean Christmas in Spanish. And so my entire life, it's so funny. I went to Catholic school, and the nuns would pronounce my name Noel, and they would say to me, "Your name is not Noel. It's Noel." And I'm like, "It is Noel." So my entire like grade school years, I fought hard for my name. But my mom jokes that she was gonna call me Leon, which I'm so glad that she made the right choice.
Well, I am thrilled to meet you, to learn more about you, and I think the
Likewise.
uniqueness of your name really stands out as a memory. So, listen, we are called Something to Say, and we love to end our podcast by finding out, what do you have to say? So, here's your 6-lane highway. What do you have to say?
What do I have to say? Well, first of all, this has been an amazing experience. Thank you for having me. I kind of try to live by this mantra, so I'll share. I think, always be a little kinder than necessary. I think wherever there's a human in need, there's an opportunity for kindness and to make a difference. And, I think that you never know what somebody's going through. So try to be as compassionate as you can be. And also contact me and let me help make things pretty for you.
Well, more than pretty, they'll be fabulous. So,
Thank you.
Noel, thank you so much for sharing your passions and your insights. And your words are really not just truly informative, but also quite inspirational. And it has been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing.
So that's a wrap up for this episode of Something to Say. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with voices of individuals from diverse backgrounds sharing their passions. So until next time, this is Greg DeShields signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Something to Say. We trust you found some valuable insights and takeaways that can help you find your passion. Don't miss out on future episodes. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on your preferred platform. We value your feedback and suggestions, so let us know how we can serve you better. Keep the conversation going and stay inspired until we meet again. Take care and happy listening.